In this video, we'll look at how to solve algebraic equations using something called the story of x. An algebraic equation is essentially a sentence that tells you about a particular situation. So in this case, I've got two groups of something, and I add 5 to it, and the result is 9. So kind of like the detectives in CSI, where they come into a crime scene, they see what's happened, and they work their way backwards to be able to figure out what might have happened to the victim. We're going to do something similar to X. Now let's examine X first of all. Now in X, we're going to tell the story of X. So the story of X in this case is the first thing that happened to X, it got multiplied by 2. Then after it got multiplied by 2, somebody added 5 to it. And the result was 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to work backwards. We're going to work backwards and do the reverse to be able to figure out what X looked like before anything was done to it. So instead of, and we'll just move this over here, instead of adding 5 to both sides, we are going to subtract 5 from both sides. Because recall that the rule of algebra is whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So 9 and combined with negative 5 gives me 4. And this will give me 2x because this gives me a zero principal and will cancel. And now we see that x was actually multiplied by 2. And so we will do the opposite. We will divide both sides by 2. So let's divide this side by 2 and this side by 2. 2 goes into 2 one time, so 1x is equal to 2. Great. Let's see if it works for something a little bit more complicated. So let's take a situation that looks like this. 3/4 x plus 2 is equal to 7. Let's try that. All right. So let's do again the story of x. Now the first thing that happened to x, it got multiplied by 3. Then it got divided by 4. You can see that here. Then we added 2 to both sides. So we will do the exact opposite. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Whatever you do to one side, we do to the other, and we'll show our work. We end up getting 3x over 4 is equal to 5. Next, we are going to multiply both sides by 4. So if we multiply this side by 4 and this side by 4, then we would get 12x over 4, or we could say 4 goes into there once, 4 goes into there once, so we end up with 3x is equal to 20. Now, instead of multiplying by 3, we will divide by 3. So if we divide this side by 3 and this side by 3, 3 goes into 3 once, 1x is equal to 6. And 6 times 3 is 18. And then there's 2 out of 3 left over.